what you want is a couple of heavy boxes worth of printed out signatures to bring over, and 100,000 is about the minimum you need to make a physical presence on that front desk where everybody in that studio who walks by sees those file boxes and asks, what's that?
You have outlined an 8-step plan with the spearheaded by the hashtag FreeStellarBlade. Why don't you, well, let's go and talk through this. You have
Let's do it.
A post. Walk us through, man.
Yesterday, everyone was kind of reeling, right? The news of the changes just hit; they were being leaked, and nobody was sure what to do. And today, I realized that this is a win for us. Stellar Blade, a game like Stellar Blade existing, is a win for gamers, but it needs to be a complete victory, and we are winning, and this is the time to push. And so I outlined a battle plan today, the 8-step plan for how we're going to have our cake and eat it too. We're going to have Stellar Blade, and we're going to have it the way that was marketed to us, that was sold to us, and we're going to change it back. So step one here is obviously I reached out to the creator. I let him know that he has our support and we will help him in the fight against Sony. That was basically the subtext of my message here. And that if he does this, he will actually see increased sales from the game. Now you're very busy on launch days. I can tell you that on launch days and launch week, you're putting out fires, you're in meetings all the time. I don't actually expect a response to this, but it primes the subject and he is aware of it. So that was the first step that I did this morning. And I kind of did these organically, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They're no particular order. But then I put them together in a thread that I did pin to my profile.
Well, can I ask you this? So you haven't heard back from him, and you're not planning to hear back from him. Will you? I mean, you put the DM in your private message to him publicly. Do you plan on keeping people updated on any conversation that you've had with him?
Of course. I mean, with his permission, I posted my DM. I didn't post our
Right.
prior conversations in the past. But if he does respond, which I really don't expect, I think they're in meetings. He says they're in meetings right now to discuss this issue. That is a very busy time. But if he does share anything, I will post it back. But I'll tell you what I think is going to happen. I think we're going to see a change, and that's the first thing we're going to statement we're going to see from him. I think we're going to win this one.
Step 2 said he follows you, right? And that's, but he's, realistically though, he's not going to be able to follow everybody, right? Because I'm sure that if he was I think he's, for every Grummz though, he's going to hear from people at Sony who are like, I don't know. Do you feel like he feels handcuffed at all in this situation? Like, how do you?
Absolutely. He has an exclusive deal with Sony. Sony is his only publisher for this game right now, and it is limited to the PlayStation platform. Sony has a complete lock, and I believe Sony kind of effed them. I believe that, because ShiftUp, his studio, released a statement saying that there would be no censorship worldwide. And Sony came out and they initially changed the hard R thing, which you can argue, okay, that was a necessary change. But then this outfit stuff got changed. And it's not like Sony didn't know these outfits existed in the game. They have to pre-approve that trailer that got sent out where you can see those outfits. They have to pre-approve every build. They have entire teams scouring this. Why did they let them think this was okay and release a statement like that, only to come around and make them look bad by imposing these censorship changes? Now, I can tell you at the C level in games, there is a lot of dirty pool being played. Maybe they know that they're going public. I don't know. Maybe there's a business angle here I'm not aware of, but there is stuff like that happens. But I think go ahead.
And to be clear, and for those who don't know, when you say the C level of games, that means like the executive level of games. That's not
CFO, CEO. Right. This is a level above studio heads. This is a level above, leads of games and things like that. And I've been up and down the entire industry from the C level on down. I talk to studio heads. I talk to CEOs. I have been in these C level battles. They are really ugly. It's dirty pool. If Sony wanted to acquire them and drive the price down a little bit, that's one tactic that could be used. This is speculation, of course, but I'm just saying that this stuff happens.
All right, let's continue on with your this one could be dicey. This step 4 here, you talk about contact the ShiftUp offices, right? It says to be most effective. Well, I'll let you read it in your words. Go ahead.
All right. So basically, step 4 is about how to contact ShiftUp and let your voice be heard. And this is different because I can tell you from doing business in Asia with game companies for many years that usually email doesn't work. Usually online petitions don't work. What does work is physical presence of letters. What does work is dropping off a letter at the office and being very polite about it. Now, in for MMOs, for example, we had to set up in World of Warcraft. It's expected that customers will visit, and we actually had to set up a visitor center where people could come and if they had a complaint about the game or anything else, talk to someone there. Right now, that's for MMO games. Non-MMO games don't tend to have this, but they do have physical offices, and it just doesn't carry weight if you send an email. I'm sorry to say, it's a completely different culture. You have to send a physical letter. And if you are in Korea, I think you write the letter and you just take 30 seconds to go and drop it off at their front desk. Don't do anything else other than that. I'm not advocating for a protest outside or anything like that. In fact, ShiftUp is our friend. I believe that. I believe ShiftUp is doing the best they can under very, very tight financial dictates from Sony. And I think that if you show up at their offices and hand them a physical letter, they can that carries a lot of weight and they can take that to Sony.
Okay, but do you think there's a large amount of people? I mean, you primarily have a Western audience, and not many people are in, South Korea to be able to drop off a physical letter. You included their address here. Do you think that, like, if there was an influx of, I don't know, let's say 100 letters, like, at what point do they take notice? Does 100 do it? Does 500 do it? Does 10 do it? I mean, if you were to put a finger on the pulse.
Look, I think that we have to reach at least 100,000 signatures on the petition, which by the way, will also be printed in Korea and delivered by courier to that office, right? And this address is right on their website. They post that address. I didn't dig it up or anything like that. This is under their contact page, so it's actually literally posted on their contact page because the culture is different. They expect people to visit, right? So I think that we need 100,000 on the signatures, which translates to about 4 or 5 file boxes. Because I've done this before. People say, "Well, will this really work?" It's, well, I got WoW Classic back. I supported the Nostalgia's petition. I brought it personally to Blizzard, and I handed it off. So I know how much this weighs, and it makes a big impact when you've got 5 heavy file boxes worth of printed out signatures. As far as physical letters go, you should do both. You should do email and you should do a physical letter. Send it off in the mail. That really makes a difference, especially with Japan. If you're sending a letter to Sony, Japan, send a physical letter. They do not pay attention to email or petition campaigns online. And I have that, pretty much straight from the horse's mouth on that. So, right. 100, that's a good start, but not enough. But listen, if 100 people were to visit during a day physically, that would make a difference. Like if you personally show up and you hand in your note very politely and take, just 5 seconds. You don't have to say anything. Just say, "Oh, here's my message for the creator of the game. Here's my message for the execs of the company." That's all you need to do. And oh, by the way, I do get picked up in Korea. I'm known maybe more in Asia than I am in the US, actually. When I went out to Korea at cons and things like that, I had lines of people lining up for autographs in Korea. And they were so nervous when they were shaking my hand. It was unreal. So I'm actually well known in Korea, and I do get picked up there. Maxim picked me up there. So yeah.
Cool. Well, speaking of the petition, it's right here, and right now you're approaching 1,000 signatures, which is, it says is gaining momentum. You just put this up about an hour ago or so.
Yeah, that only went up an hour ago, and that's a good start, but it's not enough. We need 100,000. And if we get 100,000, then we can print it out, and then we can have it delivered. My last petition that I spearheaded, Nostalrius, I didn't start that petition. Nostalrius did, but I personally took it up and said I was going to deliver to Blizzard. We reached 200,000 plus on that, so that would be nice. I don't think we're going to get 200,000 plus for this. Maybe we can, but 100,000 I think is the bar we need to reach. And if you could share that link in chat so people can go check it out, I appreciate it. We
Sure.
need to spread the word of it, and we need to get more signatures on there. So 900, almost 1,000 now, an hour ago. That's not too bad. This stuff tends to get picked up. So it starts off slow, and then it gets posted everywhere else, and then it starts to get momentum. So I think we've got good momentum just for the first hour and just for Twitter.
All right, I'll put a link in the chat. Blabs has it. By the way, we have close to 3,000 folks watching between YouTube, X, and Rumble right now. So if even just 10% of you go, that's still 300 more people. But ideally, everybody opens up a new window and adds to the list. It's important. So let's continue here. You continue on talking about Sony. Like, once again, the target here is Sony. They're the ones who need to hear this, and you talk about that as well. Sony, specifically Sony North America.
So basically, Sony North America is a different animal, and Sony Japan is also a different animal. But I know that a lot of my audience in the mornings is North American, so I specifically mentioned Sony North America. They're different. Physical stuff, it doesn't need to happen. You don't have to physically appear at their offices. What's different is that they are very sensitive to social media and social media trends. And these social media departments have to report to execs the top 10 trends of the day, right? I used to get these reports all the time. So this does filter up to management, but you have to make a loud enough noise. And that's why I'm saying tag them, at PlayStation, and use the hashtag FreeStellarBlade everywhere you can to get it trending so that it appears on those reports that get sent to management. Tell them about the double standard. Show them screenshots of other mature games that they have approved and how they show bestiality, how they show, even more extreme nudity. Show them that. I mean, Cyberpunk is full frontal, right? And you can swap junk around. Why is that okay, but a little bit of hip showing on Stellar Blade is not, right? No matter what ShiftUp wants to do, no matter what, they have to get Sony's approval for this. And Sony has been the one that has been censoring games for a very long time, and they need the message. So that's what that's about. Social media is the way to get to Sony North America. Also working on Sony headquarters Japan. That's going to be another, probably physically, we'll deliver the petition physically to Sony there as well. That's the current thinking. I have some people volunteering in Japan to do that for me.
So you also talk about boycotting Sony, specifically your PlayStation Plus subscription, as sending a message. I mean, that's a big ask. I know that sounds crazy. That's a big ask for a lot of people because they're like, well, I get free games from paying us for the subscription. But yeah, it goes back to voting with your wallet.
Yeah, I've never been shy of the big ask, and I usually get them. So, you don't win every battle, but we don't have to have, them decimated by this. We just have to get it, once again, get it to appear on these reports that get sent up to management. And you don't need everybody to do that to do this. You need a significant wave, right? And that's what we're trying to create here. I know people are super upset about this, and they want to do something financially because they feel like that's the only lever they have left. And I'm saying, don't cancel your pre-order for Stellar Blade. They're the ones that need the revenue. But I understand that you want to send a financial message. Here's the right target. Sony is the right target. Start canceling your PlayStation Plus subscriptions, and they will notice. So that's the way that you can use that financial lever in order to get the change that you want in Stellar Blade.
Obviously, the boycott is the other. The petition obviously is another big part of it. Once again, we put a link to that in the description, as well as the video for everyone to check out if you'd like to do it. If censorship is,
could you post this to? This is how to cancel your subscription to PlayStation Plus. So
Sure.
for anybody who wants to do that sort of thing.
Sure, absolutely. It sounds like you're getting a lot of calls, and if you do need to roll at any time, Grummz, feel free to roll. But here is how to cancel your PlayStation Store subscription. Which naturally, anytime you have any sort of subscription, they always make it extremely hard to do. But here, you just go onto the PlayStation account management, and then you select subscription and cancel subscription, and there you go. So you can do it from the PlayStation 4 console or the 5 console as well. So you can find this over at the PlayStation and PlayStation.com, and we'll link that as well if that's something that you're into. So
yeah, and one thing that came up after this 8-step plan is you can actually call them, and people have been calling Sony. Their phones are busy right now, which is a really good sign. And people who have answered at Sony have said that they are aware of the issue and are talking to ShiftUp about it. So call now, and you can also do live chat. There's a link there for live chat too. If you could spread that as well, I'd be grateful.
Sure, of course. Is there anything else you want to say about this whole thing? Like your target is 100,000 petition subscriptions or petition names, and you think that's kind of the top of the mountain, the peak that we need to hit to kind of really
at least 100,000, because look, what matters is actually, remember, we're talking about Asia and the physicality of petitions, and that actually worked when I did Blizzard too. So what you want is a couple of heavy boxes worth of printed out signatures to bring over, and 100,000 is about the minimum you need to make a physical presence on that front desk, where everybody in that studio who walks by sees those file boxes and asks, "What's that?" That's what you want to happen.
Right. Well, so do you feel like this is a pretty big kind of cultural moment right now in this?
It is a pivot point. It is a pivot point because we're finally winning. Gamers are finally winning, and it is wrong to sort of throw up your hands, go home, and cancel your copy now when you are on the cusp of victory. This is the time to get your cake and eat it too, and to send a clear message to journalists and a clear message to console and platform holders and AAA publishers that this is what we want. We want good games that are not censored, and we are tired of the crap that you have been peddling and shoving down our throats, all the politics, everything else. This is not just a couple of inches of fabric. This is a political stance and a political message to free gaming.